Guys, gals, non-binary pals, what the fuck is going on? It's your boy Chris Thrash, back at it again with a brand new video. This week I had the opportunity to talk with my boys at HEADBANGERS Podcast. They are a podcast originated out of the United Kingdom. They are longtime fans of your boy Chris Thrash and the Thrashy ways. I had a great time talking about my former experience on my previous platform with them, in addition to talking a lot about my career and my influences. I hope you guys get as much out of the video as I did out of the interview. Make sure you hit like on this video, hit subscribe if you really like it. Let a couple of you dudes know that Thrash is taking over. Thank you very much. Enjoy the video.
Hi, welcome back to the Headbangers Podcast, where your hosts Nathan and Brad. Here today is Chris. You might know him from Thrashed TV. You might know him from JHoff films.
Ah, he's coming! Dude, he's coming! Grab some smokes! Grab the joint, it's in the car! Get the fuck out of here, he's coming!
You have the pepperoni?
Dude, pepperoni in the glove compartment! Get the pepperoni later, grab more!
How are you doing, Chris, to start off with?
Excellent. I just got a new basketball. I was shooting hoops until the rain decided to open up and let the floodgates open. So not a bad day so far. Thank you guys for having me.
No, it's honestly a pleasure. So I want to start off with like a little icebreaker. So what's like the craziest gig you've been to? What's the craziest night out in the town that you've had?
Are we talking like inside or outside of metal shows? Okay, I can give you both then.
Yeah, both, please.
Craziest for shows. This one time, like this is just a funny story because like I like to hang out after venues, after shows and shit. Ailstorm just played the Danforth Music Hall, and I was at the drunk with my buddy at McDonald's. And this fucking kid walks up to me with his iPhone, Apple, whatever. And he's like, "Did you guys just play across the street?" And I was like, "Yeah, bro, we totally did." And then he was like, "Yo, are you guys like a touring band?" I was like, "Yeah, we're from Scotland." And he goes, "Fuck, yo, so like I have a SoundCloud if you guys can like check it out." And like this dude proceeded like fucking 1 a.m. I'm blitzed out of my mind. And the guy's like, "What's your name?" I was like, "Chris Bose, nice to meet you, man." And then my buddy pretended to be Elliot, the keyboardist. That's for concerts. And then for like actual IRL shit, I'm trying to think of the craziest night that I had. So one time this guy almost stole my fucking phone at a bar, and I almost got into a fight with him. And then he started following me down the street. Then me and my boys fucking few quick look over the shoulders, how you doing? And yeah.
What's good, man?
You know, a similar thing sort of happened to our mate Dylan. Like, it was like in 2018. He just bought like the new iPhone when it came out, and we are at a nightclub called Corp in Sheffield. We come out, and the first thing we see is Dylan sat on the floor, and he's gonna hate us for telling the story, crying his eyes out, right? And I went, "Oh, what happened, Dylan?" He went, "Someone stole my phone." I'm like, "Oh, how did that happen? Did they hit you? Did they like steal it out of your hand?" He went, "No." He went, "Can I use your phone?" And he went, "Can I put my hand in your pocket to grab your phone?" And he goes, "Yeah." So you let him put his hand in his fucking pocket. The guy grabs his phone and just bolts off. Right?
I mean, dude, if you're letting someone go into your fucking front pocket, I think there's a few bigger problems.
Yeah, for sure. You might as well just give him all your stuff.
But it's like he didn't question it. He like, "Yeah, that sounds like a normal request." Like, have
absolutely.
I?
Someone asks me for
yeah.
Wait,
what was funny though about that?
Lighter, I'll tell him to reach into my fucking crotch pocket.
But what was like the funniest part about that is Brad left a voicemail on Dylan's phone, telling the guy to come back and basically saying, "You bring your boys, we'll bring mine." And I was there like, "What boys?" Because if you had told me, I'd have been down the street. I'd have been like, "Nah, fuck this." I'd have been like, "Nah, I'm in the taxi. I'm at home. Nah, fuck that."
That was a funny night, honestly.
Well, the thing is, we only knew that voicemail got left was because he got a replacement phone and like a SIM sent out. He put the SIM in the phone and it pulled down all the voicemails from that night. So it was like 6 different voicemails of drunk Brad offering these guys a fight.
Drunk fights are always the most fun fights anyway.
Exactly.
Oh yeah. But I definitely wouldn't have got involved. I was like, "Are you taking a win?" Sheffield is quite a rough area of like Britain.
Yeah, Diagon Alley's right around there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drunk confidence for sure.
Sus. Like the Death Eaters and shit, the Dementors. It's not good. It's not a good part of the UK here.
Yeah, no,
No.
someone got the Avada Kedavra the other week in Sheffield down an alley. Well, on like the sort of subjects like gigs and everything like that, like what would you say are the top 5 gigs you've been to?
Exodus, Obituary, Power Trip. That was 2017 in London Music Hall. That would probably be number 1 because that was the only time I wasn't pissed moshing at a show. Because like and I've said this, is like the thing with like death metal crowds is you can get dudes that are just like into death metal, but then you get the fucking underlinging deathcore kids that'll show up and try to fucking chuck knucks while wearing a tracksuit unironically in a pit. Thrash shows I always like for that reason. Like it was Exodus, Obituary, Power Trip, so it was just no posers. So that was probably just the most fun I had at a show, period. And at that point, that was 2017. So at that point, that's when I was the lead with the old channel. And for me personally, just meeting a lot of fans at that show. So that'd be number 1. Quebec Death Fest with Demolition Hammer in 2018. It was really memorable. Who else played that one? I want to say Autopsy and Malignancy were there as well. That'd be number 2. Dying Fetus in 2012 with 3 Inches of Blood and Devil Driver. That was back when
That's a good
Metal
time.
Alliance Tour. Yeah, Metal Alliance Tour used to be a thing. And that was my first time seeing Dying Fetus. And I remember just being fucking, what's the front man's name? Brian Gallagher?
I'm pretty sure.
I
Yeah.
believe so, yeah.
Yeah. Just like his articulation on stage, plus with how fucking tight the drums were. And then what would the other 2 be? I'll probably have to give it to the first 2 times that Warbringer came to town, because those were the shows where I really bonded with the boys, and they're going to be announcing a tour in the US probably within the next few days.
Oh, nice.
Good choices.
That's gonna be a right tour, to be fair, because I always miss them when they come to the UK. I always miss them, and they've always been one of the bands that I've always wanted to see. But then, like,
Warbringer? No
yeah,
shit.
yeah. Well, the thing is, like, I'll always find out I'm really shit at like keeping up to date with gigs, like because I normally buy like tickets like to certain gigs and then just look forward to that and kind of get like tunnel vision until that gig happens. So whenever like Warbringers come to the UK, I've always been like, oh shit, they did a show last Tuesday.
They are a
It's
good
not
time.
like that.
Couldn't recommend them enough.
Well, I think I saw Carlos whilst he were filling in for Power Trip's drummer.
Mhm.
So I got
That
to
was
see.
for download?
Yeah, it was for download, and it was
Pretty sure, yeah.
it was pretty weird seeing Carlos up there, but I was there like,
Mhm.
this is fucking sick. It was my second time seeing Power Trip, and I was like really happy. Like I got to see him. Like I was like, this is fucking it, because it was such a hassle to get down to the like where it was in download, because I was lost. I was like late. I was like trying to find the stage for about 20 minutes, and I was like, fuck, I made it.
Yeah, they were super dope every time I seen them. Always really good.
Nice.
I love 'em.
So yeah, I mean, I still stand by it. I generally think like you're the most iconic person on YouTube for like metal videos. Like I said, I used to watch your videos all the time, like, you know, how to make metalhead friends and JHoff films, and like, you know, how to be a thrash vocalist, all that kind of stuff. So what was like your personal favorite? What was the hardest to shoot, and which one do you regret looking back?
I regret not leaving JHoff Films sooner to start my own channel, if I'm being perfectly honest. And if we're talking about the favorite video, I always thought Metalhead Sue's Lawyer was a really underrated video, because that day we just showed, keep in mind when we were younger, the biggest problem was finding location to shoot.
Yep.
Because at the time we're living at our parents' house, this and that. And so we'd go to our old university even after we graduated just to find empty classrooms to film in. So we found an empty classroom. We're like, okay, this is a lawyer's office now. And then we set up, and that entire video was improv, and it was just a one take. Like even from there was a line in there about the lawyer pointing at the clock and saying your time is up, and that just like it worked perfectly for a fucking Havoc reference and everything. And then the climax of that video was me knocking over the lawyer. So objectively, anytime I get to be violent in a video, it's going to be one of my favorites.
That's super awesome. Yeah, no, I can't imagine. Like, I think like the location with any kind of shoot is always the hardest part, because you obviously get a lot of places you have to get permits, or other places it's not very convenient. But I mean, especially when you're at university, you definitely get to have those little places that you would not get unless you're a student somewhere. Like, I know,
Exactly.
what did you study then when you were at university?
Finance, business, and economics.
Oh, nice.
No, it's terrible. Fucking.
It was a shame.
I was told, oh yeah, go get your undergrad. You can find a fucking job, and then you can do music or whatever other creative shit. If I could have given my younger self any advice, it'd be take a year off and then go into music production. Because like I've always had an interest with the entertainment aspect, be it playing in a band or making content on YouTube. And I think had I started out at a younger age, just ingrained in the industry, I would have found money for myself. I would have found a bit stronger of a foothold for myself.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I think there's something I can relate to because I did a creative degree at university, and the biggest lie they ever said, oh, you'll get a job at the end of it. It'll be fine. And then when you get to the end of it, it's like, oh yeah, we care more about your portfolio than we do about the actual degree. So it's like, so basically what you're saying is I just wasted 3 years of my life doing nothing.
Yeah.
Shit.
I went straight into an apprenticeship, so I was honestly, there. I was pretty lucky. Yeah,
that's a smarter way of going about it. Like I have an undergrad and I did my postgrad over the quarantine for marketing management, and there's only one dude on YouTube running around drinking and smoking weed in public. So regardless of how much education I have under my belt, I am considered an undesirable amongst most companies. So this is it. It's all or nothing.
That's the unfortunate thing.
When we started doing the podcast, obviously when we spoke to bands, there's been like talks about like drugs and stuff like that every now and again that's popped up. Like, like we had like, I think about a Fetal Juice. They're a fucking great band. They were on about how you can smuggle like weed into a festival. Like they said, just put it in a coffee tin and then put the coffee over it, hides the smell of it. Dogs can't even smell it. And I even had like, I had a job interview very recently before I moved to my new place, and the guy in the interview mentioned that video. He'd like found it. He'd like Googled my name, and obviously my name's all over Headbangers. So then he was like, oh, let's check out a video. And obviously he went for the weirdest name that was on there, which was Fetal Juice. So he clicked on that and then found that bit. He went, do you think it's funny talking about how you smuggle drugs into university, into like
hell yeah,
into a festival?
Oh, yeah.
He went,
Pablo Escobar got a fucking documentary on Netflix for
exactly.
it.
That's not successes on the ways.
Yeah, no shit. Eh?
He literally says to me, he went, maybe if you want to have a career, you might want to stop doing that. And I was there like, yeah, fuck off. And then like after that, I had like an interview at my new place, and they talked about it, and they were like, oh, we fucking love it. We were like watched it, and we thought it was great.
That's just the thing, finding an employer that actually respects the craft and like respects you as an individual. And especially here, like I don't know what it's like in the UK, but with North America especially, it's just the over glamorization of the 9-to-5 grind and everything. There's not a whole lot of, and especially without tour right now, that's been absolute fucking shit for this industry.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Oh yeah. Because like we were noticing when we were getting bands on, like bands that you wouldn't think would have to, like have a day-to-day job. We're saying, oh, I've found a job and I've had to get an actual like 9-to-5 job, and we're like, shit. It was when it started setting in that the shit was like really putting a strain on the music industry, because we were there like the more we would send messages out to bands, the more we get like we're at work at these times and stuff like that. And then normally you'd watch old interviews with them like, oh, we do music full time. And we're like, shit. It started like really sinking in for us like quite early on, to be fair.
On the lighter side of that though, it's kind of funny because when you go to like a festival and you look at everyone just going crazy in the crowd, you're like, I can't imagine you doing a 9-to-5. Like you're just like, just imagine everyone in the day-to-day jobs is not a thing. It's like you only imagine them in that moment just going crazy, pouring beer everywhere, just moshing to shit. Like I always find that funny just to imagine that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I remember one guy I got knocked out once at a gig. It was a Black Tongue, and I think someone had stage dived and then but went legs first. So I just remember looking up and they're like somehow stage dive. I don't know how the fuck they did it, but all I saw was just this Nike trainer just going straight to my face, got knocked clean out. I remember speaking to him a couple months after because I'd recognized him. And he was like, oh yeah, I'm an accountant. I was like, what?
Yeah, I mean, that figures the accountant doesn't know which way to fucking fall off the stage, right?
I know. But you're like, yeah, I'm an accountant. I'm like, you knocked me out of a gig. You went, yeah, you're fucking sick though, wasn't it? I don't remember half of it.
You can
That's
tell me,
fucking
yeah.
knocked out. While on sort of the subject of like Thrash TV and everything, as well, like you did leave JHoff for it. Was that, how difficult of a decision was that? Like, how long did you sort of stew on it, and like, how did you like sort of settle into doing Thrash TV and then moving away from JHoff?
If I'm being perfectly honest, the last year of JHoff Films was probably the most tumultuous of my life. Where we were at professionally in our relationships, I was a lot more able and willing to go out and film regardless of the pandemic. And my former partner just was very abhorrent, and he was straight shit. He was a lazy fuck to begin with. And then once the pandemic hit, that just turned into even more laziness. And if you look at a lot of the content from the How to Wash Your Hands or Metalheads in Quarantine, that was all shot by Steph and I. Like I produced it. Steph was the one shooting it. And then even with the Dear Chris's, Abath in a Bath, the Yari Mind Pub bit, that was I don't want to toot my own horn here, but that part of the pandemic, it was myself single-handedly carrying that channel. And I wanted to do a lot more stuff. I have interests in, aside from comedy, be it athletics like hockey, basketball, skateboarding, or even mental health awareness. And to answer your question specifically about when did that decision really settle in, it really started settling in when I started recovery, January 2021, because I had looked back on the body of work and the relationship that I had with him, and just coming to the realization that I was just a convenient muse for him when after the like third or fourth time fucking Ellie Karpinski left the channel. So what the saying goes, necessity breeds innovation, right? So at one point, I have a lot of creative ideas with merchandise as well, and we were never allowed to do anything other than patches. I wanted to do shirts for the longest time, and one time we did do it, I was the one that fucking shipped everything. Julian did not do anything aside from film and edit. And even when during the pandemic, it was even less. He was just editing. So one of the big things I wanted to do was start making hats. And the first thing I said to him was like, hey, I have a guy we can produce hats with, we can throw our logo on there. And his exact words were, no, I don't want to be known as a Thrash YouTube channel. And it's the same shit where he would go, I don't want skateboarding on the channel. And then lo and behold, not that I've been watching his recent shit posts, but the most recent video has a cuck pie hole on a fucking skateboard. And like, not only does the guy not know half the bands that he's wearing on his t-shirts, but dude doesn't know how to skateboard either. So at this point, it's just funny to see how fucking sad the state of that channel is, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Like, so when you first started out, like, were you all like pals and then you decided to make the channel and it became a business, or was it like always the business from the get-go and you sort of were more partners than friends?
A lot of times we would say that we were friends. Fact of the matter being, Julian did not put any effort into spending time outside of filming. We only got together to film, even when I was bartending, going to the same university, or inviting him to social events. There was always an excuse. And again, he's a lazy fuck. And the only time he ever wanted to get any sort of recognition was to get 100,000 views in a video. And even then, when he didn't get what he wanted, the reaction from his audience, he'd fucking turn around and blame it on me. He'd be mad. He'd be on me about, oh, you're hiding me from the audience and shit, this and that. You should be signing Love Chris and Julian on the merch orders. And I told him straight up, you want your name on fucking merch orders? You show up and work with me. Exactly. And then he would be like, oh, no, that's your job. Like, no, man, this is your fucking logo on this shit. So the need for Thrash started June 2020, because I was finishing my post-grad, and for marketing management at my college, a lot of the internships, or in fact, all of them were unpaid internships. And with the background that I've had, not in the music and entertainment industry, I wanted my own channel. And so part of that was selling all my old t-shirts for capital, and then starting the foundation of, okay, now this is, Chris Thrash official merch. And then once I had the name and I got the logo back from Dan Porter, I thought, okay, this is going to become Thrash TV now. And then all the conglomerates came with it. So as someone with a business background, you need that structure. If you don't have that structure, with anything you do in life, it could be athletics, it could be music, it could be education. If you're not practicing that, if you're not honing that on a schedule, you're going to fall by the wayside. And
Definitely.
you can look at JHF right now, and the numbers speak for themselves. You know, he was getting mad at me when videos would go under 10,000 views, and you know, say la vie, but
It sounds like a thing, like especially, but obviously you've been to university, you understand. But you ever done those group projects when you know you put in all the effort, and there's always like two people in the group that put in no effort, and they expect to claim the credit at the end.
Yeah.
And that's literally what it sounds like.
It basically, and what's even worse is that he get mad that, oh, metalheads don't respect me or know who I am. It's like, well, you're not a metalhead. You don't listen to the music, and you outwardly bash it and your own fan base. So sucks to suck, I guess.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I always recognized you from JHoff. Well, when you was on it, I always recognized you the most. Like, I think if I had ran into you, I would have recognized you before Julian. Like 100%.
Yeah, for sure. Like you were the face of JHoff, and that's can't be denied. Like when I always think back to it, and I think back to all the classic videos, like you are the main forefront behind all of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that was just a thing, and especially that last year, he was outwardly mad at me that, or if I did podcasts, like I wouldn't be able. Had I been with that channel still, I wouldn't be able to sit down with you guys right now because I had to run every appearance by him. Because regardless of the fact that I was flying the banner of fucking Thrash and his stupid channel, I wasn't allowed to do my own thing. And the day I started Thrash, he got mad at me. He said, you know, I've wanted to work on metal merch. Why would you do this behind my back? And I was like, this isn't behind your back, dude. I told you my plans, my objectives. I shared with you my own creativity and my own outlets for JHF. And he wanted none of it. And in the face of adversity, when this was probably December, January, when the channel was really starting to bleed, I said to him, we have one of two options. We rebrand and actually do something new for the fans, or we quit. And his solution was to bring back the guy that turned his back on metalhead several times and has outwardly called the fan base stupid. So,
wow.
Yeah. I'm not saying this as, you know, just, Ali Karpinski has had so many fucking public meltdowns, and I have screen caps of a few of them. So proof is in the pudding. And the thing with the channel was he would always say, and because there was a lot of shit I fucking put up with him. But it was always, you know, oh, this channel isn't my future. You're the future of the channel. It was always this huge platform is going to be yours someday, which really wasn't the case, because anytime there was any sort of pushback or adversity, he would remove me as the manager from the YouTube channel. Like I wasn't even the admin of that YouTube page. I was a manager after I finished my post-grad, and I said to him, you're fucking stupid if you don't have me doing SEO for your own channel after I have Google Analytics certificates, Google Ads certificates, all that shit.
It seems like a control thing, to be honest. Like it seems like he did
huge, small dick energy.
Yeah, well, yeah, that as well. But it seems like he didn't want you to be in control of the channel in many ways. Like he wanted full control, even though you had probably more qualifications to back yourself up. Like that didn't matter.
Down on my ass was one in and of itself. Like
yeah, exactly.
It's no secret that Julian and Karpinski aren't metalheads. They're fucking putsy little nerds. And I'm not trying to say that to be mean or anything, but don't go complaining that your metal comedy channel isn't doing well when you guys aren't actively part of the community, the scene, or do anything to give back. And even with the streams as well, Julian never showed up for fucking streams. And at one point, there was a video calling fans for Quarantine Fed Exodus to thank them for their orders. I started doing that by myself, and he got mad at me. He's like, why would you do that without me? Okay.
If you're not going to show up, then...
That's what I'm saying. Show up or shut the fuck up.
The thing is, like, you can't really fake it. Like, it's either legit and it comes from the heart with all these kind of things. Like, if you're truly passionate about something, then people will know if you're being fake or not. Like, people obviously saw in you that you are what you are, and you believe in the channel. Like, you believe, you love the music, you love the comedy, like everything about it just comes and it's authentic. Well, someone that tries to be something, it never really works out as well as they think it's going to.
Exactly. Couldn't have put it better myself, dude.
Yeah, it's like with this podcast, I'd say Brad has a lot more, like, not control as in he does a lot more for the podcast than I would, but I'm also in like a full-time band and everything like that. So in a way, I've said to him, I said early on, like, oh, I can't put as much effort in because I've got all this shit going on.
But keyword, you guys communicated and you guys came to a resolution, correct?
Oh yeah, well,
Exactly.
100%. Because the thing is, it's still our podcast. Because like Brad never goes and does anything, and then like goes, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. You can't do that. If we always communicate, and if we piss each other off, we tell each other straight
Actually,
away.
Nathan,
Like,
I've actually got another co-host, Nathan. Sorry.
fuck off. You couldn't do it without me, bitch.
And that, you know what? That's just the thing. And kudos to you two, because that bodes volumes to your relationship as well. I couldn't get Julian to show up to just for pre-production. He was the film major, and I was saying, okay, I don't like when we do videos off the whim. Let's sit down. Let's storyboard this. The last video that we actually storyboarded was the even more metalhead problems or whatever. And I think that like that video, it was easier to shoot because there was a game plan. And then there's videos like the Metalhead State Trooper, where I fucking hated filming that because he was like, okay, watch this video, now do this but make it metal. And there was no direction whatsoever. And I would do a take and keep in mind, more than I would say 80% of what you saw from both my current channel and the old channel is all improv. I seldom, like, I'll have the ideas and the structures written out, but the actual lines I come up with on the spot. And so it would be film a scene and then, okay, I need to go shoot it from this side, do it again. It's like, no, bring a second cameraman, man. Like you got one opportunity to capture that gold. And if you're not ready for that, that's like hunting without a rifle. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Literally.
You want to go spoon? You want to spoon that fucking elk? Yeah, go for it, buddy.
Exactly. Like, I think like it always helps to be very good friends before you start like working together in like a creative settings. Like me and Brad, before we started like this podcast, we were friends for, I'd say we were about 3 years, wasn't it?
3 years, yeah.
Yeah, we were like really good friends for about 3 years, and then we decided to do it. And I think because we've got that pre-built relationship, the lines of communication are a lot easier to go down. Because if Brad pisses me off, I'll just call him and I'll go, hey, you pissed me off.
Yeah.
Like, you pissed me off. I'm like, okay.
I'd have to wait 3 days on being left on red and being like, and then hearing I'm mad at you for blah, 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 blah. Instead of, just call me up and say what's on your mind.
Sorry, we're at the office at the moment. We'll reply within 2 business days.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny you mentioned that, having the prior relationship. I believe that's what, and I got to give credit to my friend and actual friend, Brian Glazer of Glazed Media. So Glaze and I, we started bartending at the pub called The Absinthe at York University during our undergrads. So I've known Glaze since about 2014-ish. And so we've managed that bar together. And then we worked at the Hershey Center bartending together.
Yep.
We played on the Cannabis Leafs together. We got suspended by the league together when we were smoking weed in the change room. Like, we've kicked people out together. So, and I couldn't agree with that more. Because if you don't have that prior relationship, that prior passion and love for one another, you're not going to be respecting one another in the workplace, be it a creative or, professional workspace.
Yeah, definitely helps, to be honest.
Oh yeah,
for
because
sure.
I think if we didn't have that connection, the podcast would have fallen flat by now.
Yeah.
Because like we both get where each other's coming from, and yeah, we do argue about like what we should do with the podcast sometimes, but we always find a resolution.
Yeah,
That's what it's about, man. Communication and finding that resolution.
it's like
Yeah,
anything. Like, communication is always key. Relationships, business, like whatever. If you don't have the communication, then it's just gonna go up in flames. You get that built-up tension, like. Oof.
Yeah,
No.
You start to resent one another. The trust isn't there. And that was just the thing. Like, I begged and pleaded for Julian to just come, like, okay, man, let's make a game plan for this year. Let's make a game plan for the next 6 months. Let's plan out this video that we're shooting fucking tomorrow. But it wasn't, there was always something more pressing. Oh, I got to go watch The Walking Dead. Like, all right,
Fuck off.
go play with
It's
your
not even a good
fucking-
show anymore.
No, it's a shit show.
Nobody
And
likes
for
Walking
a
Dead
fucking
anymore.
film snob, he wouldn't shut the fuck up about it. Oh my god.
It's weird
Well,
though for like someone to be
that's
into like film, like having a film degree, but obviously a big part of filmmaking in general is the pre-production, like
Planning.
making sure that you plan every
Always
single shot,
planning, yeah.
every frame, like everything needs to be thorough. So the fact that I don't know, it just seems weird that he'd be so spontaneous with it. I guess.
He's lazy with it because he doesn't like metal. He's not a metalhead. He doesn't like metalheads. But he finds the culture of metal funny, and it's easy for him to write in his wheelhouse. Because at one point in his life, it did mean something to him. But yeah, dude didn't even fucking graduate in film. He graduated in screenwriting. So just goes to show.
Well, like that's the thing. Like, it's always great when you're doing something creative to be organized. Like our interviews, we're booked up fully for July now, and we're onwards booking all the way through August. As soon as August is filled up, we're going to start going on to the next month and just getting them gradually filled up. So like we always know what the fuck's going on. We always know who we've got on. Like next week we've got like a few other guests on. We'll just keep rolling it week by week. And like it's always nice because before we didn't used to plan it, and like
it was always
there,
more
like,
stressful.
Who do we have on this week? Fuck.
Yeah, it's best to have it in advance because then you're not worrying every single week like, oh shit, what the fuck's this video going to be? Like, you want to make sure all that's planned out, so all the sort of I guess not insignificant details, but all the smaller details you can fill in as you go. But the big kind of videos and what you're actually doing is already in place. So you don't have to worry about it.
And ultimately, the fan base is going to appreciate it too, because once everything is scheduled, the content is there, and if anything falls through the cracks, there's something to fall back on.
Exactly.
Oh yeah. We're already even planning our Christmas special.
Oh hell yeah!
Mate, the idea is great. Like, so we are going to try a plan to get everyone that's done an interview to an accept award over, like, just record like a silly video.
Yeah.
Where they're like, oh, cheers. I like have someone go, oh, I'm really happy I was on Headbangers, and then like pretend the camera's off or something and be like, I fucking hated those bastards. Like just have like just little guys.
I'll be that guy. Like, fuck.
Oh mate,
thank you.
You definitely be that guy.
Guys talking about the TARDIS and shit. I don't give a fuck.
But honestly, that's what we're already planning. That stuff. We're already like, okay, like how can we structure it? How can we like shoot it? Like we've even got like an idea for an establishing shot where we're dressed as old men, going, let's look back on the year so far. And I open the page.
Guys, man. That's fucking rad. I gotta say, as a creative as well, it makes my life easier too when someone goes, hey, can we book you for this on this day in the future? It's like, yes.
Can we book you to roast this?
Yeah. Where is it? I have a planner where I write everything down and shit. Hold on. Where the fuck is it? My life's a mess right now, but what else is new? But I did write you guys in the fucking passion planner for today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like me and Brad both have like calendars where it's just literally on the wall every day. It's like, right, this is who we've got on. Don't forget it. Don't ever forget it. Admittedly, sometimes I'll forget to write it in. I'm like, okay, I know we've got an interview coming up like a couple of weeks.
Just don't know
what's on. And then I'll be like, okay, sorry. Because I'm really forgetful. So I always make sure I've got it written down. If I notice, if I'm like, okay, that's looking a little bit light. If I forgot to add someone, I'll message Brad and like straight away, like, yeah, this person, this day. I'm like, nice one.
Absolutely. And like writing stuff down helps so fucking much. And even with fucking professional athletes, you can look at football players. You can look at the Euro Cup. The coaches have whiteboards there for a reason. You got to write down and fucking communicate that shit. You're not going to remember absolutely everything.
No, absolutely. Oh, yeah. So I want to ask as well, has one of your dreams always been to create your own merch and your own brand? Like, has that always been in the forefront? I imagine because you did marketing, like, that's probably crossed your mind a few times. But like, when did the idea formulate?
I was getting ready one day, and I noticed all my hats are just different colored municipal waste hats that all say wasted, or the one suicidal tendencies hat I have. And I was in my closet, and I was just like, fuck. Why hasn't no one put beer underneath a fucking hat? So it was just a matter of, I wanted to wear my own hat that said beer on it. And for me as a creative as well, and at that point, summer 2020, when I knew that the JHoff was falling apart and I needed to figure out my own future, because I mentioned that in my public statement too. I'm working on music as well after leaving the channel, but it was just, again, necessity breeds innovation. So I was very, very proud to have a merch line that reflected what I wanted to see in merchandise, because I like a lot of the neon colors and music in a metal merchandise, and I just in my opinion, I didn't think it was seen enough on merchandise. So what started out with, just a fun thing with hats has turned into something a lot bigger, and I'm really proud of it. The patches I gotta say, I really like the patches. I like having neon colors, and even just to see it grow to the point where I had the privilege of doing the Vox and Hops North American Brutal Tour. I can tell you from experience, I've been emailing PR people for beers for years, but it wasn't until the day I left JHoff Films and started, saying, hey, this is my own YouTube channel, Thrash TV. That was the day I got the invite to do suds with Henderson and Matt McGackie.
Well, I mean, to be fair, if you're going to collaborate with anyone about beer, it's going to be Matt, because he is the craft beer king.
Matt is genuinely such a nice guy. Yeah, we've interviewed him, and it was probably one of the most surreal experiences. And like, we were really blown away by how actually like insanely nice he is. Yeah, like sure. He's
calm as a cucumber. Next time you guys interview him, ask him about the edibles I gave him when we got together to film last time.
No way.
No, he's such a lovely guy. Like, even like if obviously, because he's been doing his podcast for longer, if we ever go, we don't really know how to do this. Like, I think we need some advice. Like, we've dropped Matt a message, and he's replied back going, this is what I did. This is what you can work up to. Just keep doing this. And it's like,
that's the thing. Like, he didn't owe us anything. Like, when we first actually started the podcast, like, we just literally hit him up. He was like, yeah, Matt, we have no idea how to just distribute this. We have no idea how to market this. Like, what do we do? And he literally just responded within like 5 minutes, even though at that point, like, nobody knew who we were, what we are. We're just two fucking guys. And he was just like, yeah, here's all this advice. And I'm like, fucking hell, that's so humble of someone to do.
Oh, yeah. And when we got him on to interview him, it was like, this is the guy that really did actually like inspire us to do what we're doing. Mm-hmm. Like, all the cool experiences from like the past like year, like from the beginning of 2020, which is when we like really started properly doing interviews, to now, like all the cool experiences, like getting to interview Cytotoxin, getting to interview like Richard from Cradle of Filth. That was a pretty crazy one. Like, getting to interview all these bands, we were like, this is the guy that basically got us to do it. And like, in a way, is like giving us these experiences. Like,
yeah.
And that's what it's about ultimately. You can always take something from life, and it's always better to give a little something back.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to do with Thrash TV, where, I want to do comedy stuff, but I don't have, and even in the Thrash Discord community, we have our own channel for mental health talks, or just talks about something that's stressing you out in life, because more times than not, especially when you're younger, you need direction, be it from social direction or podcast direction or creative direction. And so it's always good to and that's what's rad about Matt. He's always that person to give something back. He's been very supportive with me in recovery. And even when I have personality disorder. So one time I was late bringing something for the Brutal North America thing. And I was like, oh, fuck, Matt hates me now. And then I just called up Matt, and I was like, hey, man, this is what's on my mind. He was like, you're fine, don't worry. Like, just cool as a cucumber. And yeah, ultimately give something back. If you leave something unturned, put something back there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's nice that he was supportive to you as well, because I think that's the people that you need, especially when you deal with like mental health problems, like people that understand, and, they don't sort of demonize you if you, obviously experience these certain feelings, because not everyone really understands it, and a lot of people alienate you because of it. But when someone just generally understands and just like, yeah, it's cool, man, that's all you need to hear sometimes.
Hell yeah. And more times than not, all you need to do. Sorry?
Oh, yeah. I was gonna say, like, I'm happy that now, like, there's a bigger focus on talking about mental health, like, than there was before. I like how we're living in a time where this is now becoming an actual conversation, because it is a completely normal thing, and no one should ever feel self-conscious about talking about it.
No, absolutely
if people want to talk about it, like that's the thing. Like, and I think it's such a great thing that we're now living in a society where this stuff is actually being pushed up to, like, if there's a problem, talk
priority. Absolutely.
Yeah, like, it's 100% one of the, like, probably one of the best things to sort of start coming about in our time, because it's something that doesn't get that didn't get talked about a lot, and now that it is, it's making a lot of people realize they're not just alone on it.
And there's always help out there. There's always, and even if it's from a financial standpoint, you can find free tools, be it online or through your local government or healthcare provider. And more times than not, it's treatable. I went from, October 2020, I got locked up at St. Joe's when I tried killing myself for the 4th time. And then that morning I got diagnosed with PTSD, personality disorder, social anxiety disorder. But because I had those tools in my wheelhouse, next day, okay, why am I the way I am? And then just trying to deconstruct all of that information gives you that sense of understanding with yourself. And because I grew up, I think, especially as dudes, we can say this, how many times have you been told, oh, you're being too effeminate, oh, stop caring so much. Yeah, why the fuck would you discourage emotions? Yeah, guys that are emotionally, have the emotional width of a teaspoon, and they're just, I'm macho all the time, I don't feel emotions. Like, buddy, you're fucking soft. Like, you're soft because you're scared of what's going on right in between here.
Oh yeah, there's no point bottling it up, and I think there needs to be a lot more communication between like blokes, especially with this stuff, because it's something that everyone growing up. I think I got that sort of thing blokes don't cry, blah 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 blah, and it's like, no, we do. We also feel emotions. Yeah, we're all human beings. We're all on this planet together. Animals cry. We all cry. Yeah. And what's shit as well, life is fucking stressful. So if you feel stressed and you feel under pressure, you can fucking talk about it. There's nothing wrong with it.
No, that's just it. And it's just a shame because, especially, even our generation, even though it's better than how it was before, it still wasn't great. There was still that sort of stigma that boys don't cry and you can't really talk about your emotions. But then it just kind of pents up all this emotion that you build over time. And then you still feel like you don't really understand who you are. And you feel like, trying to go out your way to understand yourself is weakness. And it's that should not be the stigma. That should not be how it is. But definitely, I'm glad that you're at a point now when you understand, your emotions, and you get in there and you're recovering. That's the most important thing. I think when you understand how you feel, it makes you feel more at ease because you understand yourself more and you realize ways to cope with all the shit that you're dealing with.
And just like you said, just finding positive ways of coping. Absolutely. Because more times than not, I can't remember the actual statistic from CAMH, but I believe it's the most at-risk people for addiction are kids aged 14 to 21.
Yeah.
And you think of the genre of metal as it is, we're young guys. More times than not, this music is for the younger generation. So for me, I don't vote. I don't believe in this democratic process. I think it's horseshit. I think I should be able to fight my member of parliament if I disagree with him. But I can't control any of that. All I can do is try to open up the facets of communicating with my audience, be it on Discord, be it through what content I'm producing on YouTube. I don't know if you guys know a gentleman named John from Noise Dosage Media. We are currently working on a podcast right now called Metal versus Mental, where we just want to talk about, where we just want to help break down the stigma and have guests on talking about their experiences with whatever mental health traumas or tribulations that they've had.
That's really good.
Thank you. Yeah. And ultimately what helped pull them through, because, everyone's life is painted with tragedy. And all we can do is try to be a bit empathetic and try to give something back, man.
Yeah.
You give a bartender a tip, you better give your fans something to fucking think about.
Yeah.
And you know what, that's what's so amazing about the metal and the alternative music community, the level to which everyone is, it does feel like it is connected and everyone is a family. It's genuinely probably one of the best, I'd say one of the best music scenes, because it's, for me, as a younger sort of lad, growing up, it helped me through quite a lot. It made me actually feel like I actually found somewhere to belong. I always had sort of this thing growing up in high school and stuff like that. I felt like I never really fit in with anyone. I got into the mute like heavy metal and stuff, and like before I knew it, you know, like I'd be going to shows, and people were like, oh mate, I like your shirt, that's a fucking sick band, and then you know, like talking to them for like half an hour, and it's like it genuinely gives you that feeling of belonging somewhere, and like you can walk up to a show, you guarantee you'll have a conversation with someone at some point. And it's be like one of the most like genuine conversations, and then after we like, right, see you in a bit, and you're like, that guy was sick.
It's absolute feeling of like being down to earth, and you know, you bond with people so quick. You know, you've got to have all these interests, but it's just like it does feel like a big dysfunctional family in a way. Like even now, just like we've been talking for like half an hour, and we're all bonding about stuff. Like I feel like in the metal community, it's just so much more stronger than other communities in that sense as well.
Well, I mean, you can't go to a fucking Eminem show and just be like, yo, West Side at someone like, get someone to part.
Yo, mom spaghetti, yo.
Yeah, you go up to other fucking hip hop fans, mom spaghetti, yo. Like, nah, it's only metalheads that can yell fucking Slayer, and then you get a reaction from someone else. No other genre of music does that. Fucking,
that is so true.
Yeah, fucking pop. It's like I was about to say. It's like pop punk vocalists going up to each other and being like, "Ha, pedophilia."
You know, there was a guy that I knew, and one of his tweets went viral, and he went round about the same topic. It said like, "Oh, you're into pop punk? Name all the pedophiles then." Yeah, it's like.
I was going to drink a Suds for Buds, but since I'm with the UK boys, we got to go with a fucking Guinness.
I actually tried Guinness for the first time like the other day, and I was actually really happy. I really liked it.
I fucking just look at this. This is nice. My favorite thing to pour in a glass. You get the nice gradient from this. Oh, I love it.
I love those jugs. Really good.
Don't you think Guinness is like alcoholic milk? Like the consistency is very similar.
It really is alcoholic chocolate milk.
Yeah, like it's so similar. Because I remember trying to be like, this literally is the same consistency as milk. Like I can't even like. If someone handed me a glass of milk and a glass of Guinness, I'm like, same thing. It's the same consistency.
Same shit, boy. So now we're on the topic of beers. So as a man that's recently got involved in brewing, you know, the collaboration with Vox and Hops, can you tell us in your opinion, what makes the perfect beer?
Fuck. Ideally, something that you can drink into the double digits while still having dinner. Like, I want to be able to crush as many beers, but have a fucking meal. And like, don't get me wrong, I love IPAs. There's a beer I've yet to not like, but IPAs, you're bloated after one of them. Those really weedy beers. One weedy beer, and like, you're not having dessert. You're not going back for the fucking chicken tando. Absolutely not. Like, I would say something crushable and something light. And that's what I really liked about Suds for Buds and being a part of that, was making a beer that's crushable, but something that it's easy to drink, something that you can sip on, and something that tantalizes the palate, because you can, I don't know what the UK equivalent to PBR or Molson Canadian is, but you know, God knows how many times I've drank the generic clear brownish kind of beer. You want something that's going to leave an impression, but something that's not going to leave a dent in your belt loop by the time you get back up again, you know?
Yeah, that is the issue as well, because like you said, the IPAs are so heavy. Like if you're having a meal and then you have an IPA, like you're done for the night. That's it from there. So like, it's nice to find a middle ground, because if you have like a cheap beer, like a Budweiser, or you have a Bud Light or something like that, like it's nice, you know, it's light, and that's the kind of beer that you could keep chugging and you feel fine. But there's never really that middle ground that's like between the nice end of the beers, like the IPAs, and then the cheap shit beer. So the fact that you've made the middle ground is pretty fucking impressive, to be honest. And I'm really fucking sad that I can't get it over here.
Don't worry. I promise you, I will be making beer again in the future. I am friends with Jamie from Henderson. He's moving on to a new brewery called Foley. So hopefully the next beer will be a hemp-based amber lager. That's what I'd want to do next. But this is just the beginning. Don't worry. I promise you more Chris Thrash related beer will be out on the market.
Well, it was crazy because we were talking to Matt about it was the Fox and Hops beer that they were releasing.
Brutal Juice.
And he was like, yeah, Brutal Juice. And he was like, oh, I can't say, we'd love to try some. He went, I can't send in any crates because it's illegal to ship it. I'm like, fuck. I was like, shit.
Canada sucks for the liquor licensing and just general import and exporting of alcohol is really fickle, especially in Ontario. Ideally, and this is something that we talked about on the rap party, but Matt wants to get Voxen North American Brutal Tour on the road. So ideally, he wants to get it to the point where you go see a band in town, and then there's going to be the Brutal truck coming by with beers outside and shit. So because there is certainly a market for that, and that's something I've always questioned as well. Why aren't all these microbreweries sponsoring smaller bands? Bands need money. Breweries need a bigger demographic. Find me a metalhead that doesn't like beer,
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's hand in hand.
That's one thing we've been trying to do here. Like we've been trying to. I came up with the idea, coming out with a Headbangers IPA, but it's finding a brewery that'd be like, yeah, we'll do that. Like it's so hard. Like he said, like, why won't you work with us?
And I used to be in the service industry as well, and just it's the gatekeeping is very real. And blessed be that we have people like Matt McGackie who brings craft beer and craft metal to the forefront. And because there are people in the brewing industry that are passionate about the music, but more times than not, they're corporate suit and tie guys. There's like the really cool breweries, like you gotta, those are the real treats. And I think that's when you get the real quality beers as well.
Absolutely. Well, I really have to admire that you and Matt together are both like bringing the two worlds together, because it's two worlds that I love a lot. I love beer, I love metal. The fact that they're both coming together, I think it paints a nice path for how the future might be. More collaborations, and like you said, having like beer truck outside a gig, like that's what people want. No one's going to complain about that, and it's going to work so well, and it's such a good business move.
Hell yeah. And it's ultimately, like you said, you go to a show, you find a t-shirt of a dude you like, guys are friends. And then what better way than to, say you're at a municipal waste show, then you get to drink the municipal waste beer, and then you have something to take home. You have the tangible to take home as well.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. And it's like a story as well. Like I met someone at the line in the beer truck, and like we were talking about like 45 minutes after the show. Like it just creates like a nice atmosphere as well. Like it means that you don't have to pay ridiculous money for beers at certain venues, because sometimes, fuck me, like the O2 in the UK.
Oh yeah.
Jesus Christ, they yank up the prices for beers in the O2. Like I remember
like
paying
250% markup or whatever.
Oh yeah, I remember walking away from the bar like, this pint just cost me £8.50.
Yeah,
dude, this one time I was at a Leafs game one time before the pandemic, and I was with my brother, and it was like $45 for 2 pints of beer. Fuck off.
Yeah.
What?
Like
yeah.
And then the bartender was like, "Oh, you're only leaving $1." It's like, motherfucker, I don't have any more
fucking tip after that.
Yeah, like
this was like entire night.
$55 for a round, eat my ass. Like, fuck that.
Well, yeah, no, that's what it's like. Over like in the UK, like depending what area you're in, like the cost of drinks go up more. Leeds is pretty like even, but it's like going up. Like the more you go to we've started going to like bars and everything like that. We're noticing it's getting higher, and I feel like half of it's because of lockdown, but the other half is because of Leeds as an area is getting really built up.
Yeah,
sure. And there's sometimes where you walk it like bars in London. Fuck that. Like I hate bars in London, right? Because like you'll go on like one night out in London, look at your bank account the next morning going, I'll probably spent like 50 quid. No, you probably can spend upwards to 250 quid and get mildly pissed in London. Like mildly pissed, ridiculous. Not even like really pissed.
Okay, so when I come to the UK, you guys are taking me for the pub crawl then.
Oh yeah. If you come to Leeds,
please come up north.
Taking you everywhere.
I'll buy you a few beers if you come down to Leeds. If you go into London, you have to pay for yourself because I'll be bankrupt.
Yeah.
I'm friends with the Riptide boys, so hopefully once Eviscerator starts, I'm hoping for an EP drop Q2 or Q3 for 2022, but Knockwood, I want to go to the UK first if I can get over the fucking ocean.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah. If you come down, let us know because we'll have a little meet and greet because it's fucking. I love UK shows. UK shows are amazing. I do want to go to Canada one day though and see because I've heard so many good things about Canada shows.
I mean, you can smoke weed everywhere and you can buy weed everywhere.
That's cool.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, don't get me wrong. I love Canada. I love going to shows here, but Heavy Montreal, that's a shit festival. And like, that's the only festival that you've got to go to in North America. Like, I look to you guys, like, download, I know this isn't in the UK, but Copenhagen, Bloodstock's in the UK, right?
Bloodstock's the better one,
we're going this year.
Oh, nice. Who's headlining?
It's Judas Priest, Devin Townsend, and who's the Creator, yeah, the main one.
Nice.
It's going to be pretty cool. Yeah, but I think, to be honest, it seems like it's going ahead, but essentially our government have pushed back when lockdown's going to end. So it was going to be the 21st of June. And then they pushed it back again because of like all these different variants that are coming in. But like most people our age, like, because me and Nathan are both like 24, we've both been vaccinated.
Not fully. I'm only partially. My second dose is in September.
Yeah, I'm partially as well. But they said that the 21st of July is when things are going to end, and Bloodstock's I think it's the 11th of August. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll work.
It's getting a bit close, fuck. I all the best. I hope it works out because Toronto's been fucking awful. I haven't played hockey in like too long.
Canada's have like had such a bad time with Corona because I feel like every time I check the news, it's constantly up and down. Like I'll read up, Canada's improving with coronavirus, lockdown again. Yeah, lockdown again.
It help with like all the universities in Southern Ontario too reopening, and then
it's gotten a lot better now in the UK. Like, I mean, then again, I don't want to jinx it, but we've been able to go to bars and stuff, like have some kind of like normality. Like I was saying to Brad, now that everything's sort of up and back up again, I'm like, I kind of forget it's a thing, and then I have like a really harsh reminder. So like, this is a weird rule. Like, so you're allowed to sit indoors now, maskless and drink, but the minute you get up to the toilet, you've got to put a mask on.
Dude, it's the same thing with the outdoor patios. Like, you can sit outside under a tent and have your mask off, but if you're inside with a roof, you can't be in there to drink. One of these things doesn't sound like the other.
Yeah, no, that's what I said to, because I remember we were sat in a bar. I'm like, okay, I was like, there's kind of holes in this. I was like, why? I'm like, we're sat here maskless. That guy's coughing. Corona's not going to be like, I'm staying at this booth. This is my seat.
It's confided to that. I mean,
I'm like, it's not like if I go for a piss and I put my mask on, Corona's like,
but that's not even the funniest rule. We had a thing last summer, which was basically like at 10 o'clock, the bars need to shut because apparently that's when COVID's bedtime is. So it just goes to bed at like 10 o'clock and then that's it.
Yeah. And then afterwards, like 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. you're good.
Yeah, that's the sweet hour.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of like the rules were just made up on the spot, to be honest. Because like one of my friends from work, he went to Ibiza because he got added to like the yellow list, so he was allowed to go. And then they've been added to the green list. But now that they've been added to the green list, you've got to get a test before. I'm like, but did you not have to when it was on the yellow list? No. Then why is there extra steps when it's on the green list?
This is what happens when we let government run anything.
Exactly.
Ugh.
Oh, well, have you heard the news about our like Minister of Health though? Like quite recently.
No, what did the Minister of Health say?
So
like the head of the NHS, Matt Hancock at the time, he's now resigned because he got found out for having an affair whilst COVID lockdowns were going ahead. He was shagging his assistant whilst telling us we couldn't see our grands.
Ooh.
Yeah, literally, and there's like a CCTV footage that's become like a massive meme, and it's just him just giving an arse grab to this fucking assistant of his.
Oh yeah, I had a
Shit,
joke.
that's some
that said
Monica
if-
Lewinsky shit going down.
Yeah, crazy, man.
I said to my mates, I said, you know what? I feel like if Matt Hancock had a handle COVID like he had a handle on his assistant's ass, we probably would have been all right. by now.
Yeah, literally.
Probably would have had fucking shows by now too.
Yeah, he ended up resigning because the Tory party were like, oh, you know, like he's got his own personal life, he can do what he wants and stuff like that. And like they're like, it's all water underneath the bridge. Because I feel like our prime minister can't really go, he shouldn't have had that affair because he met his current wife in an affair. So like I feel like he couldn't really say, oh yeah, no, like that was wrong of him. But then like 2 days after he resigned, and the video of him being resigned had like millions of views, all with memes about him. One of them, like, they were just fucking ripping him to shreds.
Literally.
Like I was reading, like, this is amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing. So I'll ask anyway. So you've done beer, you've done merch, you've done channels. Like, what is the next step for you? What does the future of Chris look like? Because you are living the metalhead dream, to be fair. So what is next for you?
I appreciate that. I'm not at liberty to divulge anything yet, but I will be going south of the border for November, December with 2 pairs of thrash metal bands. And as of right now, it's just getting my bass and my vocal chops back up to speed and trying to get an EP under my belt. Because for me personally, I was a musician from 17 to 21, 22-ish, and then my former band fell apart, and then I essentially fell out of love with performance and playing music, and that's when I started doing producing and acting in skits on YouTube. So right now it's getting back to the authentic self, getting back to playing music, and I want to hit the fucking road. I want to watch the sun set somewhere else that's not butt-fuck boring Toronto. I want to meet the people. I want to meet everyone because I realize the influence and the reach that I do have, especially with the advent of social media. So I want to be able to fucking meet everyone. I want to be able to hang out, smoke a J, drink a beer, do whatever.
Oh yeah, man.
Hell
That's a
yeah.
dream.
Well, I was going to ask you about that, like that if you've ever thought about starting a band, but then I realized in an old JHoff video you mentioned that you are in band. So are you now like fully getting back into music and really grinding on it?
Yep. The Eviscerator EP. So the band name is Eviscerator. I have the logo that hasn't been shared to the public yet. I'm still sitting on that. The album artwork is done. I have 1 song written already and the structures for 3 others. I have working titles for all the tracks. So the pieces are there. It's just a matter of my guitarist. We weren't able to get together at all, or if anything, we jammed a couple times. And for me personally, just after doing years of comedy, like I just didn't pick up my bass. Like when I said I fell out of love with music, I had a disdain for the music industry. I didn't like how it was run and whatever. And, you know, at the time I was doing other creative shit, but everything is there. Everything's set to go. And I'm actually in a weird sense, I am kind of grateful for the pandemic because it does give me that time to get my chops back up, to start finding my voice again. And ultimately getting the confidence to hit the stage and hit the road again.
Question is it thrash?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Eviscerator will be thrash. It will not be fucking, I won't do an opeth where I go fucking prog at one point and like do boring Porcupine Tree songs. Like, fuck that shit.
See, I'm thinking about starting my own little solo project because I've been in my current band for about 2 years. We released our first song. But I have like a really distinct vision in my head of what I want to do, and it just would not fit my current band. Like our sound is like we started as like a hardcore band originally, then went into like we were all massive fans of black metal and death metal. Tried mixing the two, and then like sort of been bouncing around, trying to do like 90s death metal with a little bit like newer sort of like feel into it, but. I have like a really big idea for like an EP that just won't fit that band, so I'm gonna do it all myself.
Don't let your muse be dreams, my dude. You can get there.
Love it.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I've got quite a few friends that were in bands, and I said, look, I can't play guitar. I said that's the one thing stopping me. If I could play guitar, I would just sit there, program the drums, do my vocals. But my mates were like, if you just came up with an idea and you knew how the riff wanted to go, even if it's just sending us a voice note going da 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 da. Even he said, even if it's that.
John Keeble, John Keeble of Warbringer does that. He doesn't play any instruments, but he's a vocalist, and there are interviews where he talks about I think I can't remember which song, the Firepower Kills main riff, like John Keeble like dictated that over the phone to the guitarist. So you absolutely can do that, and it's a very viable option. But like, cool. I do get the frustration where, you just want to, and that's the beauty of being in a band, because it's that eclectic communication and that language where you guys are all on the same page and you can transpose those ideas with or without instruments.
Oh yeah. Like the thing is, this is a weird thing about the band. Because we've been to like a band for 2 years, it gets to the stage where if we're jamming and like Jordan has an idea for Phil, and like Danny already starts clicking on what he wants before he even like goes into the next bit of guitar. So he's there like they're like looking at each other like,
yeah.
And then like Danny's there like changing his drumming patterns just to fit what Jordan's liking, and he's there like
the chemistry. That's what it's about. It's about getting that click going.
Yeah, no, like that's what's cool about being in bands. Once you like click, like you can't not like, because one of the tracks we've been writing at the minute, I was like, that's the best track we've ever fucking written. So it came out, I was like, that's the best track we've ever fucking written. So I'm excited to try to get that demoed and EP'd out.
Oh yeah,
fucking A, man. Godspeed. Let's give her.
So I've got to ask as well. So what makes thrash the ultimate genre for you?
Nothing's under 150 beats per minute. Like, my girlfriend is huge into traditional heavy metal, and don't get me wrong, I like trad. I can only sit still and listen to slow music for so long. I need there's that one Sodom cover for Tapping the Vein. That's how I identify every morning. I just want to fucking just give it in me. If I have a double espresso in the morning when I drink my coffee, I need music to be the same fucking way. If I'm not going fucking the defibrillator on the chest, I can't move. I can't emote. I can't speak.
It's like being at a party and everyone's on different levels. You're on fucking I've just done fucking 2 bumps of coke, and then the person next to you is just yeah, I've just smoked a joint. It's like you're on a completely different wavelength. It's no, I need it fast.
Yeah,
completely different.
For me, I'm the dude at the party that's already fucking tripping on mushrooms, joint in mouth, 3 beers deep. Hell yeah, it's the only way to do it.
That's don't you find as well you as you listen to metal, it kind of changes throughout the day? Because I know for a fact when I wake up, I'll listen to the heaviest shit I can, be sat on the bus getting ready for morning. But as the day goes on, I'll get into the sort of chilled out sort of thing. And then when it gets to nighttime, I'm let's just put on some doom or something.
for me, it's I'll go into 80s, 90s hip hop with Eazy-E, Biggie, Run DMC, whatever. So that'll be mid afternoon when I'm earlier today, I was just shooting baskets. So that's midday kind of chill vibes, but it's coffee, cannabis, and fucking thrash first thing in the morning. As soon as my eyes wake up, I need all 3 at once.
Oh yeah.
What would you say is 5 bands that you think are super underrated right now?
I can't say enough good things about the guys in Warbringer, and especially having the privilege of touring with them. I can tell you from experience, all those guys are just absolute dedicated tailors to the genre of music. So big credit to them. Who else would be underrated? Ex Mortis doesn't get enough love. For guys that are absolute neoclassical shred that aren't pieces of shit like Yngwie Malmsteen, they don't get nearly enough credit. Revocation is starting to get the recognition they deserve. I always felt that they were criminally underrated.
I agree.
Unleash the Archers just recently won a Juno in Canada, which Juno may not be a world-renowned award per se, but in Canada it's fucking huge. So stoked to see Unleash the Archers starting to get that recognition. And then one more. Probably Havoc. V was an unreal album.
I'm a massive fan of Havoc. I've got the Havoc Don't Brainwash Me hoodie. Yeah, I've got that. I got it for a Christmas present. I remember when I bought it, Carlos had literally the same day it arrived, posted like an Instagram story where he had it. I was like, oh shit, that's my hoodie as well. And I replied to the story. He was like, oh, nice, man.
Fucking A.
No, have
Yeah,
a
fucking
Warbringer and Revocation. Definitely 3 underrated bands that I feel like deserve more recognition. I'm glad that they're starting to see some sort of more recognition that they deserve now, but I still think they should be like up there. They should be headlining the fucking festivals, man.
Dude, wholeheartedly agree. Warbringer hasn't done any of those European festivals in quite some time, probably since they played Vakken in 2011. And don't get me wrong, it's just I can only see Judas Priest so many times headline a festival or see Lamb of God headline a festivals. I love Judas Priest. Lamb of God I could do without at this point in my life, but I don't know. It's a lot of the same shit over and over again. And I don't care if some of these festivals need to take a cut with admission. Give the people
what
the
they
good
want.
Headliners. Yeah.
Like, let's be honest, like Firepower Kills is probably one of the best thrash songs that's been released over the last 10 years, and it's fucking mint. So
Wholeheartedly agree.
Absolutely.
Well, that's one of the things about metal that I kind of wish would change. Like, it's a very traditionalist like scene.
Very much so.
And like the people that organize the festivals know that it's like, okay, well, we could give smaller bands the opportunity, which sometimes they get.
Slipknot again.
Yeah. We could book Judas Priest for the 50th time in the row this year. It's like one of those things where it's like it annoys me because I'm not like, I know like 50 bands that I'd rather see over them.
Like 50 bands I could probably go harder than the other bands on stage too, because don't get me wrong, I love my legacy bands, but fuck, man, you got to make some room at some point. If we're not doing it now, when are we going to do it once the Warbringer and Havocs retire? Because the reason why the Judas Priests are still there is because they've had their time in the sun and they still get all the fucking headliners.
Yeah, you need to give like other bands a chance to get their time in the sun as well. Like, these bands are getting old, and you got to think, in quite a few years, they're not going to be here anymore. Like, they're going to be broken up. Black Sabbath are broken up now. Like, you need to have bands that are going to stand up and take the plate for it. So, you need someone like Havoc, you need someone like Warbringer that, have got all the energy, they've got the musicianship, like everything's down to a T. So fucking get them up there, just give them a chance and fucking let them shred, bro.
It's like the punk rock MBA. He had a really great point with how smaller bands don't get as much publicity in metal, and he said he went, I'm gonna use he said, let's say like a band like Bring the Horizon. He said, not like a proper heavy metal band. He said, but then people are going, oh, okay, they're sort of getting big now, but these guys have been going for 12 years. They're not a new band anymore. They're old as fuck. He went, imagine, and they had to switch to doing pop just to get some kind of recognition. And even though they got shit for it, they were like, oh, but it still got us a recognition from other people that they weren't getting when they were doing slightly heavier music. He said, so you can imagine being like a heavy metal band that you've purely focused on doing metal on, and like you sat there going, shit, how am I going to get this publicity? Like, how am I actually going to get shown? Like he said, if you're looking at like all the other bands, you're there like, well, like we're getting to the size where we could headline a festival, but we can't because Slipknot's on this year. Yeah, I mean, it was a really good point. Like, I was there like, I completely agreed with him. Like, I was there like, it is really hard to even get like noticed in a weird way. And I think I think that's one thing that would change about the alternative like heavy metal scene, everything like that. The more of a bigger like outcry to like, you know what, this smaller band, I found them, they're fucking sick. Let's give them a shot.
Yeah. I'd rather see Riptide get a longer set time than, I don't know. Who's a band that I could go without? Ghost. Like, fuck Ghost. Like, straight shit.
Yeah, you know what? Ghost kind of pisses me off because, you know what? I can't remember what band they remind me of because someone pointed out how, it's Scooby-Doo theme tune music. It's Scooby-Doo chase music. That's what it is. It's literally Scooby-Doo fucking chase music. And it pisses me off.
It's such Walmart like elevator music, but then like the mainstream will be like, oh, this is metal. No, it's not. Like,
yeah, and you know what really pisses me off as well? How I felt betrayed because at the time Ghost came out, I started getting into black metal, So I see like these the album art and the posters, and I see like they're wearing weird costumes and shit. I'm like, oh, this must be some brutal like fucking recorded with a potato black metal. This, and all I hear is ritual, and I'm like, oh, fuck right off. Yeah, I felt fucking like betrayed. I was like, this, I feel lighter. Are you gonna say, is Mayhem gonna make a fucking jazz album now? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
God, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised.
Burning churches and saxophones.
That'll be funny. So we are sort of getting to the end point of the interview now, and one thing that we always like to end on is, what advice would you give to maybe someone starting out, like doing videos or doing a Thrash brand, you know, merch, or just even just being in a band in general? Like, what advice would you give to maybe your younger self as well?
Stay true to your authentic self. Keep your mind open. Set reasonable boundaries and expectations, and don't take shit from anyone.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I like this. I like this short and simple ones. Like, that is it. That is all you need to know for anything.
Yeah. It's those uniform rules that are going to come around in whatever facet or whatever avenue of life is. And if that journey starts or ends with heavy metal, then so be it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like it's so like important to keep those aspects in line, because like if you lose track of it and you start like letting people push you over, or you know, like not being strong-minded, then it's one of those things where you could get lost, like, and
or
like, oh,
just
how the fuck did this happen?
Pleaser. Yeah, and I'll be the first person to admit to being a people pleaser. That's why it took me so long to leave my former channel and do my own thing. But you got to stay true to your authentic self and do what makes you happy. Ultimately, as long as you're not impeding on anyone else's freedoms or rights, do what makes you happy.
Oh yeah,
100%.
Yeah, thank you so much. Like, it's honestly been a dream to get you on. Like I said, I've been watching your videos for fucking ages. Like, I remember just
Much
being
appreciated, boys.
6 years ago watching your videos. Like, that's fucking hilarious, and it's still good to see it. You're making bits now. You got your own brand. You're doing beers, like, and I can't wait to see what you do next, to be honest. And if you're ever in the UK, fucking let's get a beer, man.
110% will hit you boys up. Thank you so much for having me, and I can't wait for you guys to see what's in store.
I can't wait.
Enjoy. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hit like on this video, hit subscribe if you really like it. Let a couple of you dudes know that Thrash is taking over.